2, 1,
Action, Jake, and action!
In A Quiet Place Day 1, we have gone back to the beginning of what happened before the creatures invaded the Earth.
In Day 1, we explore similar themes to the beginning of the second film, where we watch the Abbott family negotiate this invasion. Except this time, we're set in an urban environment in New York City.
It's a completely different perspective, a different environment, a different setting, and this one is so much more devastating to witness.
We meet Samira, who is on a day trip to New York when they arrive. And she has to adjust to this new world. And on the way, she meets Eric, a perfect stranger, who she has to figure out how to survive with.
Trying to be quiet in New York City is no easy thing. An entire city of people figuring out the rules for themselves.
If we stay here, we die. The world is coming to an end, and how does one best manage the emotional roller coaster?
It feels very surreal because New York is so quiet. It feels very ominous, and you just think about survival.
It's perilous, it's fastly paced, and it's extremely quiet.
For Day 1, I wanted to find a writer-director that would come up with something totally unique. And so we found Michael Sarnowski.
John did give me a lot of freedom to create something that remains true, yet also very different from the first two movies.
With the thriller genre, there can be a formula. What Michael has done is totally dismantle that formula.
His take on the movie was, what if you had someone going through this first day and they had a unique set of circumstances that would set them apart from everyone else?
There's this other layer that Michael has added. It's bigger, scarier.
He's created an emotional roller coaster.
It does justice to the Quiet Place universe and expands upon it.
What he was able to do was absolutely wild. If anyone knows me, they know I do not like cats. I'm afraid of them. I think cats are actually just small lions. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about cats. Well, that's how I felt about cats before this movie. This is Frodo.
Hi, Frodo.
I met Nico and Schnitzel, the two cats that played Frodo in the film.
You can't have a cat in here.
Now, somehow, I love them.
I had seen both of the Quiet Place films in theaters when they came out, and they are a really special movie-going experience to watch with an audience. So I had a wonderful experience with both of those, and I just loved how fundamental and essential those stories were where you got to follow intimate character dramas while also faced with this very primal and visceral challenge of these creatures that hunt by sound, and if you make a sound, you die. And I liked sort of the simplicity of that allowed you to explore really nuanced characters. So I was very excited to work in that universe.
I was drawn into this movie first and foremost by John Krasinski. I spoke to him and he told me about why he wants to tell another story in this universe. And his point was that he only wanted to carry on telling stories in the A Quiet Place universe if he could find new ways in stories that would somehow expand the universe as well as expand what the horror and thriller genre can encompass. And I love that as a mandate for going back to this place. And so he passed the baton to Michael Sarnowski, and I watched his film Pig. I was really taken by how he tackles severe material with a tenderness. And when I read the script for A Quiet Place Day One, I felt that same sensibility come across in this world where it's a bigger scale. We're in New York, there's all the spectacle of an apocalyptic film, but at the heart of it is just navigating the human relationship between these two strangers that are trying to overcome great odds.
I think there's a lot of pressure and ideas of what we could see in a prequel and how much you could expand this universe, because there's so many ways you could go with A Quiet Place. And for me, I just really had to focus on characters and finding a story that I was excited about and that I cared about, because you have to live with these characters for years and see a whole movie through their eyes. And I think finding the opportunity to really tell a unique story within this amazing universe was the thing that most excited me.
I was drawn to the central characters. I thought that they were so fully realised and very much well observed on the page. I think that something like this, with a large-scale spectacle film, apocalypse film, it could be quite easy to lose sight of the beating heart of any motion picture, which is the characters that occupy it. Mm-hmm. And I think that this film really preserves that. It preserves these two perfect strangers colliding, meeting each other and revealing certain things about themselves throughout the process of the film, as well as providing a lot of scares and entertainment and thrill. Mm-hmm. So I thought that that would be a really interesting exercise and an interesting kind of bank to try and rob, really.
It was wonderful to work with and for Michael Sarnowski. He leads a joyful set. He's very calm. I'm fascinated by how calm he remains even when things are chaotic around him. And he has this magical child quality that is infectious, right? And movie making is such a privilege, right? We get to play for a living, and sometimes we can take ourselves too seriously. And what I find with Michael is that he doesn't fall for that. He's still very much enamored by the movie making. He brings this freshness to it, a sort of childlike wonder, and the material is intense and demanding, but there's a joy with which he does it, and I loved working with him because of that.
He's a wonderful man and a brilliant leader, and a sensitive one as well. Mm-hmm. The content of the script, the themes that are explored are pretty large questions. It's about grief, it's about dependency, it's about family, it's about an unraveling of a society. What happens to human beings when all of the things that we're told are there to keep us safe disappear? These are kind of large themes and big questions. And I think it was handled in a way that was very delicate and entertaining at the same time, and it takes a rare person to be able to steer that ship. Mm-hmm. So it was lovely working with him. We had some wonderful other cast members, Jamon Hounsou and Alex Wolff, to name but a few. Yeah, we had a really lovely gang on this, and it's makes everything a lot easier when you've got some people like that involved.
Going from the original two Quiet Place movies to Day One is going to feel like a big jump in scale. You're going from a rural environment to one of the loudest cities in the world, and there's multiple creatures, so many people that are dealing with this situation, and I think it's going to feel like the next sort of level of how people are having to deal with these creatures and seeing how they initially had to learn about this. Yet at the same time, I think it really honors the roots of the franchise in being character-driven dramas that are about unique people going through this situation and how they're dealing with it. And I think in Sam and Eric, we've really found a story that feels all its own.
What do we do? Save everyone we can.
I have a plan.
A Quiet Place, Day 1.